Right now, somewhere near you, an animal is asleep. Maybe it's a dog on the floor, paws twitching. A soft, muffled sound leaking out of its throat, half a bark that never quite arrives. Its legs are moving. It's running, and it's lying completely still. You've seen this 100 times. You've smiled at it. You've filmed it. Chasing rabbits, you said. But sit with it for one more second, because what if that twitch isn't a glitch? What if your dog isn't really here right now at all? What if it's somewhere, a real place, with a real feeling attached to it, and the door to that place only ever opens from the inside? That's the question, not whether animals sleep. We know they sleep. The question is whether they dream. And if they do, the harder question underneath it, what is it like to be the one inside the dream? Let's start with what sleep actually is, because most people get this wrong. When you fall asleep, your brain does not switch off. It gets loud. It cycles through stages, and the strangest one has a name you already know: REM, rapid eye movement. It was first identified in 1953, and it's the stage where, in humans, almost all vivid dreaming happens. Eyes flicking back and forth under closed lids. Brain activity that looks, on a monitor, almost identical to being awake. A body that has gone limp so it can't act out whatever the mind is doing. And here's the first uncomfortable fact. Nearly every mammal we've ever studied has REM sleep too. Dogs, cats, horses, elephants. The same electrical signature, the same flickering eyes. The same paralysis holding the body down while something happens upstairs. But REM by itself doesn't prove a dream. A light can be on in an empty house. So for decades, that's where the science stalled. We could see the machinery running. We just couldn't see what it was running. Then, in 2001, two researchers at MIT looked closer. Matthew Wilson and Kenway Louie were studying rats. During the day, they had the rats run a maze, and they recorded the exact pattern of neurons firing in the hippocampus, the brain's mapmaker, as each rat moved through each turn. Every section of the maze lit up a specific, recognizable sequence of cells, a fingerprint of place. Then they let the rats fall asleep, and they kept the recorders running, and the maze came back. While the rats slept, those same neurons fired again, in the same order, at the same pace, with such precision that the researchers could look at the sleeping brain and tell you where in the maze the rat believed it was. They could point to the moment it reached a corner, the moment it ran a straightaway. A rat, lying motionless in the dark, was running the maze again behind its own closed eyes. And this points at something bigger. Why dreaming might exist at all. The leading idea is that the sleeping brain isn't idling, it's filing. It takes the loose, fragile experiences of the day and replays them over and over, wearing the memory into something permanent. Dreaming, in this view, isn't a sideshow. It may be the brain doing the quiet work of becoming itself, which means if a rat is replaying its day in the dark, it isn't just twitching. It's doing the same deep, essential thing your brain does every night to turn what happened to you into who you are. Now, replaying a memory still isn't the same as having a dream. That's the honest catch, and a good scientist says it out loud. Your phone replays a video without watching it. Maybe the rat's brain was just filing the day away, no one home to see it. So here's where it gets harder to explain away. Go back to the 1960s to a French neuroscientist named Michel Jouvet. Jouvet was obsessed with that one detail, the paralysis. Why does the body go limp during REM? He found the tiny region of the brainstem that switches it on. And then he did something that sounds almost cruel in its simplicity. In cats, he switched it off. The cats slept normally. They entered REM, their eyes closed. By every measure, they were deeply, genuinely asleep. And then they got up, not awake, still asleep, eyes shut, and they began to act it out. Crouching, stalking, heads tracking something across the room that was not there, pouncing on prey that did not exist, arching their backs at an invisible threat. Whatever was playing inside that sleeping cat was vivid enough, structured enough, real enough to its body that it tried to live it. That is not a video filing itself away. That is an animal moving through a world only it can see. And the deeper into the animal kingdom you go, the stranger it gets. Consider the platypus, one of the oddest creatures alive, part mammal, part something older. When researchers measured its sleep in 1998, they found something nobody expected. The platypus has some of the most REM sleep of any animal ever recorded. And while it sleeps, its bill twitches and moves in the exact rhythm it uses to snap up prey underwater. An animal that splits off from us near the very root of the mammal family tree appears to spend its nights doing the one thing it does to survive, hunting in the dark behind its eyes. And it doesn't stop at the things with fur. There's a small bird called the zebrafinch. Young males learn their song by practicing it over and over awake until they get it right. In 2000, researchers at the University of Chicago recorded the song-producing part of the finch's brain, first while it sang during the day, then while it slept at night. The sleeping bird ran the same neural pattern as its daytime song, note for note, silently. A bird in the dark singing a song that made no sound, rehearsing in a place where no one could hear it. And then there's the octopus, which has no business being in this conversation at all. An octopus is barely related to us. Our last common ancestor was a blind, brainless worm hundreds of millions of years ago. And yet a sleeping octopus does something strange. Its skin, which it uses while awake to flash emotion and camouflage, begins to ripple and change color while it sleeps. White, then a storm of dark, then patterns racing across its body, the exact patterns it makes when it's hunting or hiding or afraid. We can't say for certain what that is. Honesty matters here. But it looks, for all the world, like a creature reacting to something. Like its skin is narrating a dream it's having in a body shaped nothing like ours. So line it up. The rat runs the maze. The cat hunts the empty room. The platypus snaps at the water. The bird sings the silent song. The octopus flickers through a story written on its own skin. And here is the wall. The same wall this channel keeps walking into, because it's the most honest place to stop. We can watch all of it, we can record the neurons, we can map the brainstem, we can film the skin, but we cannot get inside. We will never know what it feels like, or whether it feels like anything at all, to be the rat in that maze. The experience itself, the texture of it, the redness of it, is sealed off from us forever. We're standing outside a door, listening to something move on the other side, and we are never getting in. But there's one more thing. And I saved it for last because it's the part that's hardest to sit with. If an animal can have a good dream, it can have a bad one. Animals in sleep don't only run and hunt and sing. Sometimes they whimper, sometimes they freeze. Sometimes a dog jerks awake with the body language of something that was just afraid. Researchers studying fear and memory have watched the brain replay frightening experiences in sleep, the same way it replays the maze. Which means somewhere out there, a creature that cannot tell anyone, that cannot be reassured, that cannot understand that none of it is real, may be trapped for a few seconds in something it desperately wants to escape. A nightmare, in a mind with no word for nightmare. No one to wake it but itself. So where does that leave you? The animal asleep near you right now, the one twitching on the floor, the one breathing slowly in the corner, may not just be resting. It may be somewhere else entirely. Running a field it loved, singing something only it can hear, reliving the best day it ever had, or the worst. Living a second life every single night, 3 feet away from you. And you will never see it. You'll never be invited. You can love that animal for 15 years, learn its every sound, and there will still be this one room it goes to alone in the dark, where the door only opens from the inside, and your name was never on the list. We always thought the gap between us and them was the things they couldn't do. Maybe the real gap is the things they do, the ones we'll never get to watch.